Give me one sec.
But not yet.
Okay, this one is rolling. Is that one rolling? And then just make sure the audio. I guess we're good, yeah. So you're gonna look at Jillian the whole time, talk with a loud voice, you're happy to be here, and then let's just go when you're ready. Good.
I was born in Stockholm, Sweden, and lived there for 5 years, and then I moved to Denmark. My mother is Danish and my father is Czechoslovakian.
I grew up on a farm, and I was raised on a farm, and my father had 8 siblings, and 6 of the siblings married and lived within a 3-mile radius of our place. So my excitement in life and growing up was mostly with relatives and cousins, and it was a wonderful life.
I was born in Elk Lake. Elk Lake is up near James Bay, on the way to James Bay. And then we moved to Toronto. My father worked for Toronto Hydro Commission. He got laid off in the Depression, and they gave him a year's notice. So he bought a farm in Halebury.
I was married to an army officer and had about 45 years together in the military with him, of course. This life was very interesting. We moved 18 different times.
Wow.
Not all was a military move. Some was one small little pokey apartment to a little bigger pokey apartment that we did ourselves. But I just counted them all together because we did get on the move a lot.
I have 2 children. That's their picture. These 2. I was an elementary teacher for many years, which I loved every day of and miss every day yet. It's a marvelous career.
I'll show you a picture, and if you understand, probably wouldn't. There was a windmill on our farm, you know what they are?
Yeah.
Well, I stood on top of the windmill with that suit on at 3 years old.
Oh.
And I can remember like today, my mother was on the veranda and the men were in the field haying, and I was wondering how I was going to get it around that platform to get down. I was 3 years old.
Yes, we are 4 daughters and 1 son. My parents had 5 children. And myself, I have 2 daughters and 4 grandsons.
So we moved to Halebury from Toronto, and on the farm there was a pond, so we took 2 ducks, 2 geese, a cat, some hens, all in a Studebaker car. We were all tied in the car, and we never stopped at hotels going up. We stopped at a creek.
I was at a 1-room school in those days with 1 teacher and 8 grades. And I had a sister that was 3 years older than myself. And we spent many years together in the public school system because we were all in 1 schoolroom. Now we had to try an entrance exam to go into high school. And in those days, if you didn't pass, you would have to go back and take grade 8 over again. But a lot of people didn't even go back, so they really never went any farther than grade 8.
I went to school till grade 11, and the teacher caused me to quit. He failed me once and he didn't get the second chance. So then I came home and worked with my father on the farm till he was killed, and then I took over.
I had 1 brother who was a little older than me and very bossy. It took me a long time to get that I could answer him back and get the upper hand.
Nice.
We were posted to India, and our ship went through the Suez Canal. And I swear It was maybe 2 widths of this room wide. That's all. I swear we could have reached out and touched the other ship that was going by. It appeared that way. A little bit bigger, but not too much bigger. That was my first introduction to Suez Canal. And there were other people on the ship that lived along the way. They stopped and let them off until we got to India. Being in India was a real, I guess you'd call it an eye-opener, because I thought they were going to be really different than we were, just in color, that's all. An Indian officer's wife was just the same as we were. She could get mad at her husband just as quick as we could get mad at ours. And it went on like this. We made good friends, we played bridge, we played golf.
I wanted to be a farmer, but one time my father come home and I'm keeping a fire going, and he thought that was his job, so I had to get out. But then when I started to work, all the people were coming back from overseas, so it was hard to get a job. So you took whatever you could get. And I went to work in the bush. And when you went to work in the bush, it was 20 miles in the bush from where the last car was. And when you went to work in the bush, they give you bran sacks sewn together for a mattress, and you went down to the barn and filled with straw, and that was your mattress. So I stayed there all winter, and all logs. The best job I ever had. I loved it.
So my sister was 3 years older, and she was a teacher, because my mother was a teacher, my cousins were teachers, and my aunts were teachers. I wanted to be a nurse. So after training, I went to Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto for veterans. And it was during the time of the Korean War, and we got casualties coming home to Toronto.
Well, most of my accomplishments were in, the first one was when I left here when I was 16. Another chap and I left and went on the harvest excursion to the west. And I fought wheat from 6 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 at night, and we lived on 5 meals a day. And I was 16.
My accomplishment was to go back to university and finish a degree while I was raising the children and working overtime as well, working full time. And we had busy lives, going to the cottage at Mont Tremblant every weekend. So it was go, go, go.
One thing I accomplished, or I wouldn't do by myself, but I'd say we had 50 acres of farmland and bush, and I succeeded in making it into an animal sanctuary because I like wild animals, and no one hunted on my property. If they got over the fence into my property, they were safe.
After we got back from India, my husband, he changed regiments, and he joined the Black Watch, which is an Highland regiment. This is a hand-painted picture of my husband in his full dress uniform. And I thought maybe you kids might be interested to know all the names of the different outfits, the things that they wore. Special shoes were under these white spats. Then the checkered socks. In the right-hand sock is a small dagger, which is called a skeen dhu. In his belt was a long dagger with a small one beside it. and that is called a dirk. Of course, this is a special sporn, all of horsehair, I believe. And the regimental badge, his medals, and his beret.
Favorite memories? Having my children, the birth of my daughters.
I met my husband on a blind date suggested by my favorite girlfriend, and it was a good match. And he married and went to Barrie and had a wonderful life together. He was a very kind, happy, honest, hardworking man, and he treated me as though I was the best person in the world. And I think when you people choose a partner, you will feel that you win the lottery and have the world by the tail.
I married a good woman. She's one of 15, and I've never heard her ever say a word about anybody. Good, bad, or indifferent. She always had something good to say about her, and that's the difference. I'm not like that. I shall say it as it is.
After I retired, I went to Florida and met a guy down there that was a carver, and then we went to carving class, and I joined the Space Coast Carvers. We're 20 miles south of Cape Canaveral, and that's where I started carving.
Now, I can do something I bet you none of you can do. I can do the alphabet backwards. Can you do it frontwards?
I can do it fun. Yeah.
ZYX, WV, UTS, RQP, ONM, LKJ, IHG, FED, CBA.
Wow, that's amazing.
My husband wanted to jump out of an aircraft with a kilt on. They think they're so strong, they don't have to wear underwear. What makes them strong without underwear, I don't know, but that's what they were like. And they call it regimental. And wasn't supposed to, because I went out and bought him a special little pair of underwear. And I said, I handed it to him at lunchtime, you wear these. Okay, dear, okay. He took them, put them in his jacket. I thought, oh, thank goodness, because he had forgotten them at home. I brought them to him. It happened to be a ladies' day, and so all the ladies went out to the drop zone to watch this kilt jump. Somebody went to the fellow that was leading these soldiers back and forth. Would you please clear the area? There's going to be a kilt jump. Oh, yes, sir. A what? They couldn't believe what the hell is a kilt jump. Anyway, they cleared the area. They were all sitting like they were going to see something special, and it was special. They jumped. The Jeep brought them back. My husband, this is a picture of my husband after he landed and came up. The photographer was in front of him. He put his hand in his shirt pocket. What do you think he handed me but his shorts that I'd bought him for that day?
In '74, we took our 4 kids in a motorhome and we went to Vancouver and back, and the next year we went to Nova Scotia. And that's something we'll never forget, because as of today, our daughter, which is 49, can remember things, and she was 3 years old.
Well, of course, my graduation from Ottawa Teachers College, that was a good memory. And my wedding day, that was a good memory. And also the birth of my children. Those are some of my best memories.
We had a wonderful 51 years together and raised 3 lovely girls, which are part of my life now and care for me. And he was taken with cancer and died, and I had to have a lot of changes in my life. And you can't change changes because it's not able to do that, but you can change your attitude towards the changes. So I took a very positive attitude and decided that I must do the best I can and carry on my own. And here I am now, leaving my home of 51 years and away over here in Ottawa with new friends at VIVA and new people to meet and places to go. And I'm doing the best I can. And there I am.
This here is a picture of 4 generations. Grandma down to a new baby. The mother, her baby, her mother, and me, the grandmother.
You're in a different generation because you almost pick what you want to be. I didn't have a chance. I done what come along. Whatever job it was, that's what I did.
Perfect example this morning, I went into a store and I gave a lady $10 and she wanted $10.70 and I gave her $10.25. And do you know she couldn't make change?
No.
She could not make change. When we went to school, you had reading, writing, arithmetic and spelling. And that's what they don't have today. It's all these machines, you know, in this. And that's a very sad thing as far as I'm concerned, you know. If you don't have those, you don't have much.
My advice to your generation is to travel. You must travel. It's an education in itself, and it makes you understand other people's values. And it's very enriching. Even if you take 1 year off to travel, you'll catch up.
I would say work hard at whatever you choose to do, and always be mindful of the other people around you. Just be kind to everyone and everything, animals as well.
Yes.
I'm an animal lover, you can tell.
Yeah.
I would love to say that you be strong, you be honest, and you take every day as the best day in your life, and you choose a partner that's the best for you, and you are doing the best you can with your life every day. It's important.
It's a good thing to strive for something special that you have thought about if you haven't. I didn't know I was going to marry an army officer. That didn't mean anything. You don't have to have an officer, but whatever. It just make sure you get along with them and understand what the military means. And that's the only thing I know about business life is the military because of my marriage for so many years and raising kids at the same time. We made sure they all were able to get to university and graduate, and they're all well employed now, and there's only me left.
So we've had a great life, we've no complaints, we're in here where we're well looked after, and that's about it.
In my life, every day got better. I think was better. And if I had to do my life over again, I wouldn't change a thing.